So this is one of the main reasons why I ended up leaving Stash. It was just in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Stash, the reasons why I left and my opinions on it, and if I think Stash is a good investing option for you. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe. If you've already been subscribed to me, I know this is a different setup. Let me know down in the comments if you like this setup more rather than me just sitting at my desk or sitting in front of a desk, I should say. But now we'll get right into it. What is Stash? Stash is basically an investing app that I would say is very similar to Acorn if you haven't already used that, except that you can actually pick and choose what stocks you want to invest in other than ETFs, and you can invest in those companies or stocks at a fraction of a price. So technically you can invest $5 into any company and say you're a shareholder. So the reason why I did it particularly is because I wanted to say that I was a quote unquote shareholder for Tesla, and I invested $5 in it, and I was basically a Tesla shareholder at that point in time. And I would also say the target audience for Stash is for beginner investors or new investors who are probably overwhelmed with the amount of information that is online in terms of investing, and they don't know where to start. Okay, so now I'm just gonna give out some stats on Stash. That sounds really weird, Stash on Stash. No, stat on Stash. Anyway, there's about $2 billion sitting around in Stash accounts. There's about 4 million users, and 86% of the users are first-time investors. So when I started using that app back in 2018, I was part of that 86% of the first-time investors, and they've made about $5 million back on their stock cashback, not stock back option, which I will get into later in the video, which I'm pretty excited to talk about. What I have behind me right here, you can't see, let me focus the camera on it, is the pricing tier for the Stash business model. I'll have it up on the screen somewhere over here. If there's nothing there, that's gonna be really awkward, but so starting off with their beginner model, which comes out to be $1 a month, multiply that by 12, that's $12 a year that you're never going to get back. Let that sink in. You have the option to open up a debit account, which will also give you a debit card for. And then the last thing that Stash gives you is a free financial education. So they'll send you articles every morning. They also have within the app a type of quiz that you can do throughout the week, which you can move up tiers for, which I think is really beneficial. But I would say free financial education is great, but there's sources like, there's already sources like Google and YouTube that you can use. So it's definitely a good benefit to have, but I wouldn't say that that's something you should buy $1 for. Moving on to tier number 2, which they call the growth tier. This is a very interesting tier in my opinion. So it's $3 a month, which comes out to be $36 a year. $36 you're never gonna get back. Let that sink in. So with the growth tier, you get all the previous things I mentioned before in the beginner tier, but the only difference is that you have the option to open up a tax retirement account. So you have the option to open up a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA, and you can also purchase ETF funds within this account and fractional shares, which if you think that is beneficial to you, then more power to you. But $36 a year for investing I think is way too high, which I will also get into later in the video. All right, so for the last tier, we have the Stash Plus tier, and it is a very interesting tier to say the least. They market it as maximize the power of every dollar. And you are definitely maximizing their profit margins. So $9 times 12, that's $108 you're not gonna get back for the rest of the year. Please keep that in mind. And when I say that, I really mean like it's $108 you're using for investing, and it eats up a lot of your investment returns in the long run, if you think about it like that. The Stash Plus, you get all the previous options from the growth and the beginner tier, but now with a few additions, you now have the option to open up 2 retirement accounts for your kids. And when they reach a certain age, they'll be able to use that money that you invested for them for opportunities or education. But I don't have any kids, so that doesn't really matter for me, so I'm not going to be spending $9 for that. This is also a really interesting selling point that they have. Instead of the plastic debit card, you get a metal debit card, that sweet metal weighted card that everyone seems to love nowadays. I would say paying $108 per year to have that card is 100% not worth it. If you're going to be spending that amount, you might as well just get the American Express Gold card, but that's besides the point. I would just say having a metal card is the ultimate flex around your friends and your peers who don't have a metal card. But if you're paying $108 for that, that's a really interesting flex that you have. So with the metal debit card, you get ×2 points, or you get ×2 back on the stock option. So instead of 0.025%, you get 0.25%. So the last thing that people get in the Stash Plus tier is the monthly report insights that they do on the market and the economy. And I would say if Stash's target audience is for new investors, it's probably easier for them to digest the insight reports. But if they're new in investing, they probably don't even know what is being told to them on the insights, and they probably won't even be able to use it to their advantage. So I would say that the monthly report insights that they receive is not that beneficial, and it doesn't really hit their target audience. Now I'll go over to my whiteboard and show you guys why the stock back option plan is, I don't want to say it's a scam, but it's a lot lower than what people expect. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you guys about the stock back program that Stash has and why I think you should know the math behind it, so you can see why I don't think it's a very good option. So essentially what the stock back program is that if you spend money at a certain place where Stash has that company available in their places to trade, they will actually, whatever you spend at that place, they will multiply that by their rate, and that's how much would actually go back into that stock. So the example I'm going to use, you can use this for any company. I'm just going to let you guys know the amount of work you're going to have to do in order to get a decent amount of money back. So let's say you go to AMC, which is a movie theater, and you buy one movie ticket. And that one movie ticket is $10. And Stash will actually give you a rate of 0.125%. And they will match anywhere from a cent all the way to whatever the rate is. So this will give you 1 cent to AMC. So every time you go to the movie, and let's say like the average cost is $10. I know it's not. Sometimes it's much lower than that. You're gonna get 1 cent back to AMC. Now let's say you pay, God forbid, the $9 a month, and you buy your movie ticket and you get the 0.25% back. What you're gonna get back is 0.3%. Not 0.3%, 3 cents instead. So every time you go to the movies, you get 3 cents back. So let me get a different marker. I want you guys to guess in the comments how many times you have to go to the movies in order to get $1 in AMC stock. I'll do the math for you guys. So you have to go to the movies 80 times, which is $10, which equates to $800. 0.125% of that comes out to be $1. And if you wanted to pay the $9 a month, you would have to go to the movies 40 times and spend $400. So this is exactly why I don't think that the stock back option is a reason that people should be using the Stash debit card. I think it's not worth it, especially for $1 a year, because essentially it's $12 for the whole year. And you're not even going to be recouping the cost of how much you're spending throughout the year in order to just have that card. Okay, so let's just say hypothetically someone starts to invest in Stash, and the only thing you need to start investing in Stash is $5. So you start January 1st with $5. And what I did in particular is with Stash, when I started working my first job, I was putting $200 a week into different companies. But I would say for the average beginner investor, they're not going to be investing that much. That's what, 200, 400, almost $800 a month in investing. So I would say, let's just say they put in $5 every single week. So by the end of the year, there is $260 in their account. And the fee that you have to pay over that year, let's say you're just using the $1 a month, you only pay $12 for the whole year. So let's factor in that the average rate of return that people get is 6% on their investments. For some reason my screen is black. Okay, we're back. You get 6% back for your return on investment. Oops, that should be an I. So your fee is going to be your $12 over 260. And that will give you, let's multiply this by 100. You get 4.6%. This is what is coming out of your rate of return. So let's do 6 minus 4.6. 1.38% is your new return on investment. But we also have to factor in inflation. So after inflation, average rate of inflation is 2%. So now we take 1.38%, which is your current rate of return, minus the 2 of inflation. Let me do the math real quick. Negative 0.61%. This is how much you would be making, which is why I think if you have a low balance within Stash, the $1 a month is just eating up way too much of your investments. So let's just make this a lot easier for everyone. Let's say you have a balance of $1,000, which you'll think, oh, that's not too bad. Take this amount, 12 over 1,000. Do this real quick, 12 divided by 1,000. That is 1.2%, which honestly, I still think that's ridiculously way too high. So let's do 6 minus the inflation minus the fee. So 6 minus 2 minus 1.2 equals 2.8%, which I would say for a rate of return, that's not that bad, but you also have to think that this is not that much money, and it's also the lowest tier. So let's say that we decide to bump up to the next tier. Now you're getting a rate of return of 0.4%. And if you were to bump it up to the highest tier, the Stash Plus tier, obviously this number would be negative. So this is one of the main reasons why I ended up leaving Stash. It was just, once you factor in the fees of what you're making, you just realize that it's eating way too much of your account. So once your account reaches 5,000, back in my time when I was using Stash, they would take 0.25% of that amount. So they would take out 0.025%, and that would come out to be $12.15 per month is how much they would take out. And as this account grows, they would take out more money monthly. And as you can see, that's honestly just way too much money for investing. And by the end of the year, this is going to be almost $150 that's just coming out of investing. So before I hit this amount, I actually ended up leaving Stash to another brokerage who doesn't charge me nearly as much money. Now I will go do like a quick overview. So like I said, how I got into Stash was basically I said I wanted to be a Tesla shareholder, and I wanted to tell that to my friends and family. So and I didn't really know how to invest as well. So I was like, I don't know, there's just so much information online, and I was kind of overwhelmed that Stash said that, oh, all you need is $5 and then you can buy into any stock that we have available. I'm like, oh, okay, well, Tesla's on there. I want to be a Tesla shareholder. And lo and behold, I put in $5. I bought a very, very small amount of Tesla, and I was telling my friends and family that, hey, I'm a Tesla shareholder now. So if you are new to investing and you are too lazy to open up a brokerage account with someone else that's free, then I would say Stash is a very good option for you, especially at $1 a month and you don't have too much money to spend. And also, if you are a new investor, I would say that Stash is actually a really good place to get information daily on just like some of the few stock terms are, just to get your head around like what you should do if the market is going crazy, which it has been doing lately with the virus going on. Personally, for me, like I said, I don't have kids, so the $9 a month doesn't really make sense to me. Even the $3 a month doesn't really make sense to open up a Roth IRA or traditional IRA account. You can open that up free with another brokerage as well. So I would just say, if you take the extra time, I would say like even an hour, you can find a lot of other free options, especially people who have been in the investing game a lot longer than Stash has. But I would ultimately say that investing in something is much better than investing in nothing, especially if you're young. So if you want a little bit of guidance on how to invest and you want to test out the waters a little bit, then I would say Stash is actually a very good place to start, especially at $1 a month in order to use. I'm not sure if they still have the .edu student discount that's like free for as long as that email is valid for, or you can show that you're a student. So all in all, I would say that Stash is worth it for beginner investors like I was myself a couple years ago. So that's pretty much the whole video. Like the video if you liked it. Share it with your friends if you want them. Share it with your friends if you want them to also know about Stash themselves. If you guys want me to do a video on Acorn, because I also used to use Acorn back in the day as well. I went from Acorn to Stash to another brokerage as well. Let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Don't know when that will be. Oh, it's going to be Thursday, but I don't know what the topic will be. But peace. Much love. I'm going to start saying that now. Much love, guys. Peace.